Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the International Women of Blockchain event. Great to see everyone today. It is day 21 days of content, and we have so much more packed for you. We got 10 more days before we complete this event. It's been a long-running conference since the 1st of March, and we are happy to say that there are plenty of women in this space who have graced our stage and present to you various aspects of the blockchain ecosystem. I'm very excited about that. Today is Mind Your Money Monday. It's all about cryptocurrencies. So you're going to get a wealth of information today about how to manage your cryptocurrency. But first, we'll start with possibly how to find your cryptocurrencies, right? Because there's several different cryptos out there, and I know a lot of people are interested in trying to figure out a way to identify these cryptocurrencies as opposed to falling for somebody's introduction to or attempt to get you to invest in a particular cryptocurrency. We understand that it's important for you all to know how to do your own due diligence. What are the cryptocurrencies out there, and what are the different type of use cases? And we'll go through that. There's over 100 actually cryptocurrencies out there. Not all of them are available on one exchange, but they are all over the place. So it's important for you to be able to navigate through this space and learn and identify the different type of cryptocurrencies. The International Women of Blockchain is actually brought to you by Black Women Blockchain Council, which I am the founder of. BWBC's intent is to make sure that in this ecosystem that we're building, that no one gets left behind. It's particularly the Black women and the Black community. So we want to make sure that we understand blockchain, we understand cryptocurrencies, we understand NFTs, and we understand all of the things that are happening in this space. And that's very important for us because we want to participate. And we're also finding out that this space is actually very much our space, right? It's a space that we are comfortable in. It's a space that we are finding freedom, right? We're finding the ability and the capability to interact and be able to participate in ways that we have not been able to do before. I know that cryptocurrencies has allowed a lot of people across the globe to find that financial peace of mind, and those in the West, that passive income that they've been looking for. It's created opportunities for a lot of people across the globe, and it's continuously creating opportunities even to today. We have gone through several things within the last 5 years of the mass getting introduced to cryptocurrencies, or in particular Bitcoin. We've gone through bad narratives about cryptocurrencies to now even the government is looking at it. And they've actually, in the US, they've actually presented some interesting executive order that seems to want to align with the fact that this cryptocurrency space is here to stay. And so therefore, the government needs to understand it and need to understand how they're going to apply their own version of cryptocurrencies into our system. And that's, wow, that's significant within its own, because we've been able to go from, oh, it's just a FUD. You're crazy. Nothing is going to ever compete with the dollar or other currencies out there, till now this thing is viable. We're seeing a lot more people get involved. We're seeing a lot more people being able to utilize it. We're seeing a lot more industries and institutions applying cryptocurrencies as well, which is positive for this space. Is a testimony to the importance of digital currencies, especially since we're moving towards living and experiencing worlds through the internet. We're realizing that this digital currency, it's not just something that people are using as FUD, but it is something that people are using in order to build and surround themselves around. It's creating various opportunities for people across the globe. It's actually allowing more people to participate in the world, which, if you really think about it, we live in this world, right? We live on Earth. And we all have the privilege, but however, we have segmented ourselves to certain areas and certain locations and have restricted how we as humans can participate and interact with each other. Najah did a very good job last week when she went through the process of the evolution of money. It was short but concise, right? Because she showed us that in the US, we have historically gone from using bartering to using gold, to now being introduced to cryptocurrencies or coins, as well as to also being able to go from that to now the dollar as we know it. So it has gone through several iterations. Cryptocurrency is not something new. It's just an evolution of the currencies that we are used to. Now we're using digital currency because we're participating digitally in this global world. And that's very much important. And the great thing is it's not just segmented to one location. everyone across the globe is using the same cryptocurrency. And if I don't know, if you don't understand how significant that is, in a world where we are all humans, we are all on the same earth, but yet we've managed to segment ourselves. We're finding a means to be able to interact with each other, transact with the same type of currency, cryptocurrency. And that's very much important in this space, because what we're building is a community. We're realizing that this segment, this divide of humans is unnecessary, and that the ways to move forward is by having a unified ways of transacting with each other. And Bitcoin has been one of those cryptocurrencies that has allowed a lot of people across the globe to go ahead and interact with each other. And I think that's significant. That's a testimony to Satoshi Nakamoto, who probably never imagined that this will ever be the outcome of his invention. And, we are taking it a step further by applying it to a global world. And I know a lot of people are focused on El Salvador, but I believe the true attestation is when you look at Africa. For the longest time, Africa has not been able to compete on a global scale because of the various divide and segments of the different countries, and not being able to tap into the monetary systems there. But giving the people the power to now interact and transact with people across the globe without having to consider exchanging different currencies to whatever their country currencies is significant, right? Now they have this one currency that now they can interact, they can choose to exchange it to their home currencies, or they can continue interacting with people and living freely from the constraints of their countries. And I think that's significant right there. And I think a lot of people are not looking at the different aspects of cryptocurrencies, and they're not focusing on how impactful it is in Africa. And I tell you all to start looking at the impact of cryptocurrencies in Africa and how it's changing things there. It's changing it so much that the government is adamantly against it. A lot of government officials are looking at the impact of this digital currency and realizing that it's eliminating their need, right? And that's what the digital currencies are supposed to do. It's supposed to give back the power to the people, right? And so a lot of government officials are realizing that they cannot tap into these cryptocurrencies because they've been eliminated. It's a peer-to-peer transaction. And so therefore they cannot, stifle or take some money from that transaction and put it into their pocket. So the power to give back to the people, the power to allow the people to maintain their own data, interact with each other across the globe without restrictions. I think that's a true testimony of what this cryptocurrency movement that we're creating is all about. I'm going to go ahead and take a break right now, and then I'll be right back. All right, all right. So, um, we are waiting for Najah. She has an emergency, so she may not actually join us today. But in the meantime, we do have content for you all. We are going to be talking about cryptocurrencies and money management. It's also important to realize that there are several different tools that are out there for you when you're in this space. And so we will go through some of those tools as well. And then have some questions and discussions about the fear of getting into the space, as well as some of the things that you should be aware of when it comes to navigating through this space. So, with Bitcoin, which is the grandfather of all cryptocurrencies, it was created by an individual called Satoshi Nakamoto. We say an individual because we don't know if this person is a man or a woman or identifies as something else, right? This individual was able to create this digital coin that his intention was to serve a purpose. And really, that purpose just happened to be tied to what was going on back in 2008. For many of you, you may be too young or you may not realize that prior to 2008, there was an onset of a financial crisis that was going on. This particular crisis impacted so many people across the globe. It was a disaster, honestly. A lot of people who were nearing retirement in the US lost their funds. A lot of people who had put their money into certain stocks lost their funds. There was a lot of companies, financial institutions that were participating in bad practices that caused this whole financial crash that we went through. Some of those financial institutions went under, like Lehman Brothers. But however, a lot of them did not receive the type of punishment that historically financial institutions have been divvied. Historically, we've been able to sanction financial institutions, and they've been, dealt with, right? But this time around, for some reason, a lot of them were impacted as well, even though the humans, individuals were impacted. Um, our governments decided that the best thing to do is not take care of their individuals or citizens or residents, but take care of the financial institutions and provide them with incentives so that they can carry on, right? They got maybe a slap on the wrist, but it did not look good. The aspect of that whole process did not look good. A lot of people were upset. And Satoshi Nakamoto was one of those individuals that just said, you know what, this is ridiculous, right? We're at the beck and call of financial institutions. They can do no wrong. They're quote unquote too big to fail, which was the word that was spread around all across the globe. That these financial institutions were basically giving the leeway to do whatever they want. Even though they knew what they were doing was wrong, a lot of it impacted minorities. When it came to putting together some funky little mortgage payments, etc. But then that spiraled and it impacted the whole financial institutions on a global level. So around 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto decided that he was going to create an alternative payment system that will remove us from being tied to financial institutions. This alternative payment system happened to be Bitcoin. In his process, he decided to try to find a solution that will basically eliminate the double spending that previous digital currencies have always encountered. And double spending, and just to let you know that, Bitcoin was not the first digital currencies. There were plenty, but they all ran into the issue with double spending, which essentially was, computers, they're only as smart as, or your code language, they're only as smart as the individual that's able to program it, right? Or the codes that's provided into it. So historically, these codes or these languages were not able to do computing. We're not able to do mathematical computing in a way that was effective. And so they also did not have that ledger capability, which was able to trace movement of money from one end to the other. And a lot of them ran into that issue, and they weren't able to account for where money came from. So historically, what normally happens is that if I was to send you money, and I had, for instance, maybe $20, and I wanted to send you $10, historically, with the double spending, what ends up looking like is that you will have $10 in your account, but I would still retain that $20. And that $20 did not, there was no tie from that $20 to your account, that the $10 that you received. And because there was no linkage, that $10 just looked like it mysteriously came out of thin air. So imagine trying to move forward as a payment system with that money. So now you're creating money out of thin air. There's no way to track it. There's no way to be able to account for that $10, right? So that was always an issue, and it always came up. And we call it double spending because now it does not reflect that $10 came out of my account. It actually showed that I still have $20. So now I'm able to use that $20 again and give somebody else $10. And imagine, consistently having $20. I mean, even though it would be perfect for some people, but, consistently having $20 in your account, but not showing that accounting capability was wrong, right? There was no way that someone would take that digital currency serious. So what Satoshi did was that he looked at a technology that actually has been around since the 90s. And that technology was blockchain. By looking at blockchain, Satoshi was able to say, to realize that there is that accountability, that is that ledger, and there's the ability to trace movement of money or movement of data from point A to point B. And so with blockchain, we're able to fully realize Bitcoin for what it is, a true digital currency, cryptocurrency that is doing what it's intended to do. So using blockchain, Satoshi was able to transfer some money from his account to a friend's account. And that transfer actually worked. It actually looked like that $10 came out of $20 that I have in my possession and actually reached the destination, which was the friend's account. And that money coming out of my account now had the correct accounting capability attached to it. So now in my possession, I have $10 left. And that friend had $10 in their pocket or their wallet. And we were able to see the ledger that actually showed that money was moved from my possession to the friend's possession. And so that solved the double spending issue. And then it also created a ledger. It created transparency. It created the ability to secure it because now you have cryptography attached to it. And so this became a viable means of creating digital currency and using it for its intended purpose as an alternative payment system. So with that said, a lot of people have been able to use Bitcoin for that same purpose. Now, I know some people have, some issues and say that, there's, it's slow and, and all that good stuff. But for the intended purpose of creating this space and giving us the ability to now rely on cryptocurrencies as a global currency and not just a currency that's tied or restricted or created by a central entity, but it was a currency that's now a global, that has a global use case for a lot of people across the globe. And even though we know this individual named Satoshi Nakamoto created this cryptocurrency, we do not know who that individual actually is. For all we know, Satoshi Nakamoto could be a name that someone is using. It could be a woman. It could be a man, or whatever they identify as. So this particular individual has consistently remained anonymous and chooses not to reveal themselves for various reasons, right? Because historically, we've always tied digital currencies or currency, period, to an entity, whether it's a country, whether it's an individual, etc. And this person has created a digital currency by removing himself that the whole world can now attach themselves to and can now find value from, right? And so we're seeing countries like El Salvador changing their monetary progress to now saying that their legal tender is now Bitcoin, right? We're seeing people all across Africa, as well as, South America, now being able to interact on a global scale by now using Bitcoin. And so because of Bitcoin, we've been able to now fully realize all these other cryptocurrencies that are out there that are being created. Now, there are some pushbacks on Bitcoin and the fact that, because it uses proof of work, and proof of work is basically how it's coming through to its consensus mechanism. And miners are involved in regards to them being able to verify or validate the transactions, right? And because in order to do that, you do need to have a computational power to do that. So these miners, they have to solve several different puzzles in order to come through to that verification. That solving of the different puzzles does require not your regular laptop or your phone. It does require a lot of computational power. And because of that, a lot of people have used the environmental impact as a means to combat the significance of Bitcoin. And to their concern, I'm not going to argue against that, but I will say that in this world, there's a lot of things that we're using that does have environmental impact, right? The financial institution alone, they have servers all across the globe. They're actually thinking about it. I think they have created servers underwater as well. So, there's servers across the globe, and those servers don't run on a small amount of energy. They run on a huge amount of energy. But yet we as people have not used that as a means to get rid of financial institutions, to get rid of banks, et cetera, et cetera. So the environmental impact to me is just another means of people pushing back on the capability and the ability of Bitcoin. The fact that Bitcoin has allowed us on a global scale to participate with each other and to remove barriers and create this ecosystem that we're creating, I think that's a testimony to the significance of it. It's also a testimony to the individual that created it. And I'm sure that person probably never realized that we will take it to this level. But we are here. Right? We are here, and the government officials all across the globe knows the significance of it, because they're realizing that when you create a digital currency that the entire world is finding value in, there's no way to stop it or prevent it. You can try. And several different countries are trying. China is trying. They have banned their people from participating. However, this digital currency is able to be realized through the internet. So unless they get rid of the internet, and there are ways to do that, and they can prevent people's access to certain things. And we're realizing that as well, that countries have done that and consistently will do that. They will flex their power however way they want. But we as people need to realize that there is alternative opportunities for us in this space. And through cryptocurrencies, there are ways for us to interact with each other and to participate on a global level, and also be able to transact with each other. Because of that, we're building this ecosystem that is inclusive, right? This is an ecosystem that has people from all across the globe that are participating in this space. And it's fantastic for people to participate, for people to be involved, and for people to know what's going on in this space. Bitcoin, blockchain have created an eye-opener for all of us. It's provide us with the realization that we can be decentralized. We can be removed from entities, right? Because we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, we're still finding value in Bitcoin, right? So therefore, we don't need entities to tell us or give us permission to participate in certain things, right? And so we're realizing that decentralization is a way for us to move forward. We're also realizing that peer-to-peer interaction, the way I guess life is meant to be, right, is also possible. And it's not just restricted to people in your neighborhood or people in your family. We can actually interact with people across the globe. And so we're doing that. We're also realizing that there are ways that we can actually create accountabilities, right? And so we're building that. We're realizing that there's ways for us to create financial freedom. And so we're participating in those type of projects. All of this because of somebody's great idea to step outside of the norm, because of someone's great idea to say enough is enough, because of someone's great idea to create a solution that he or she thought at the time may be able to address some of the issues with the financial institution, but never imagined that it will create a whole new movement that people across the globe will be participating in. And so, Bitcoin being the grandfather of all of what we're creating now and all of what we're doing always will have a significant impact on this space. And that's why, a lot of people across the globe gravitate towards Bitcoin because of the value, and whether it's monetary or whether it's, personal value that it's providing to people. It's very much important for you all to realize that even though Bitcoin is the grandfather, there are other cryptocurrencies out there. And these cryptocurrencies, their use cases are different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is proof of work, as I mentioned, and there are other cryptocurrencies that are moving towards proof of stake. And proof of stake just basically means that, as a individual that owns a significant amount of one particular cryptocurrency, that I can stake or put up a significant amount of my currency in order to validate a particular transaction. In that process is basically saying that I'm investing my shares to derive at a consensus of a particular block. And it's giving power back to the people. It's allowing people to participate in that validation. And a lot of people, like it because it's also addressing the environmental impact that proof of work is said to be a significant issue within the proof of work process. And so, proof of stake is something that a lot of cryptocurrencies are looking at moving towards. That is one of the validation mechanism that can be applied. And so there's so many different ways of, understanding this space. It does take, you doing your own due diligence. And when we talk about do your own research, we're going to walk you through that whole process shortly. Doing your own research is very much important because I remember getting into this space and realizing that this may be something big, right? When I finally decided to participate in cryptocurrencies, it was actually during the ICO craze, or the initial coin offering craze, which within itself was a was a crazy time frame to be able to participate, because there was all kinds of cryptocurrencies that were being introduced into the ecosystem. People were creating things left and right. There were white papers that are out there, some of them that go above people's head, and some of them that were as simple as maybe 5 pages. But there are always things that you want to look for. And one of those things is you want to look for the use case. What is the use case? If a lot of these cryptocurrencies that are created now, their use case is funny to me, because they're either using it as a means, as a cash grab, and you can really tell by reading it. And you could also tell by asking the person who's shilling it to you, and shilling just means informing you or marketing it to you or advertising it to you. When that person is advertising it to you, they're always leading with, you can make a lot of money. Okay, I can make them a lot of money with other cryptocurrencies that are already out there. Why is this one significant? Well, you could 10 times your money and all these things. I need to know exactly what the use case are. What is the use case? What's the intention? Why do I need this other cryptocurrencies? And so finding that type of information out is very important. We know that, the intention of Satoshi Nakamoto when he created this was just, an alternative payment system, right? It was nothing more, nothing less. He was not trying to disrupt, to a point, the entire financial institution. He was just giving the people choices, right? And so now we have a choice that we want to stick to. And so other cryptocurrencies out there, they are giving us a good use case. Ethereum, for instance, is a smart contract. It's a smart contract that allows us to create a digital or code-like contract between you and myself. If I wanted to sell you my house, right, I would have to go through several different processes in order to do that. One of them being a legal tender, and the legal tender meaning a contract in order to do that. So, and then our we will exchange money, and the deed will be transferred as well, right? And so with the smart contract, you could essentially write your own legal tender or contract through a series of code. And the code, the way that it works is basically it has a trigger and a reaction. So if I put my house on sale for a particular amount, and Amy comes along and decides to purchase it and she pays, then that's a trigger, right? She pays. The house will be transferred to her name, right? That's the trigger is the condition that needs to happen. She needs to pay, and then the action that takes place is the house being transferred to her. So you could essentially write that in a coding language, and that's what an Ethereum smart contract really builds upon. It allows you to write contracts that basically it serves as a mechanism for individuals to interact with each other. And so with that smart contract, we're able to participate in a whole different level. Having NFTs, non-fungible token, is a form of smart contract. We're basically creating a digital receipt of our digital artwork for artists onto the blockchain. And by creating that, we're also creating a line of code that allows us to sell that digital work to another third party. So that in a trigger mechanism, that smart contracts starts happening when you put up your work for sale on a marketplace, and then there's a buyer that comes along and buyer pays. That payment is a trigger to now exchange that digital currency or NFT, digital work or NFT to the payer, right? And so then the money now comes to your possession, to your wallet. And so that's a way of creating a contract, a digital contract. We say it's smart because it's written in lines of code. It's not necessarily that it's smarter than the next person. There could be, some vulnerability that we as human may have created into that contract. But it's deemed to be smart because it's a line of code that basically it's a trigger, it's a conditional code. That if something happens, then something else will happen. So it's essentially reacting to an action. So with that smart contract, it's doing the intended purpose. And so, being able to interact in this space is very much important. I want to call up, because I know I can talk forever about this space. I do want to call up some ladies. I want to call up Tam. Tam, come and join me, and let's talk about Bitcoin, because I know you're into Bitcoin. And, as a person that first started in Bitcoin, what did you think? Like, how was your introduction?
Hey, Yinka. Thank you for having me up. To answer your question, for me to get started in Bitcoin was actually a feat for myself. I got introduced through a clubhouse room, the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, with the founders, Isaiah Jackson and Lamar Wilson, who was on the Breakfast Club. And I got introduced to it when the room was like, they didn't have like 100,000 followers like they do now. And so it was just a space, and they were talking about, what this Bitcoin thing was. And my first initial time even hearing the word Bitcoin was actually from my sister. And it was probably about 3 months prior. And she said, you gotta read about Bitcoin and find out about Bitcoin, but it's great. And that was kind of where she left it. So I didn't know even what it was or anything. So I joined Clubhouse. And it just so happened I saw that was one of the first rooms that popped up. Then I said, okay, Black Bitcoin, they talking about billionaires. Let's get in here and see what it's about. So I started listening. And the main thing in that space, and what I have found through my time being here so far, that anybody that is really understanding what Bitcoin is, or understanding the Web3 space at all, they're always pushing do your research. So the first thing, I got into the room, they said a little bit, but they're like, but do your own research. They might say another sentence, but do your own research. And so it started to annoy me, actually, because I was like, well, I don't need anybody to tell me how to do this research. Like, where do I do this research at, right? And so I finally got up enough courage to ask, how? Because I'm like a lot of people that come into this space that aren't techies, that really didn't really quite understand the financial market at all, really, outside of the small things, like you got to have good credit and, these types of things, not really understand the impact. And so the first book that was recommended was The Bitcoin Standard. And The Bitcoin Standard is not necessarily an easy read. So I started reading it, and I was initially feeling very overwhelmed. I was like, man, this is crazy. This is stupid. Why would anybody want to do this? But by the time I finished reading that book, and it's also an audiobook if anybody doesn't want to read it like I didn't. But by the time I finished reading it and listening to the audiobook with it as well, I realized that this was a totally new way to interact with the financial system. I realized that it was really about to be a revolution. And so that really is what got me started and really got me passionate. And then some other books were recommended to me to kind of not just understand Bitcoin, the technology, but also understand why it was historically, socially, economically important. And that's what really lit the fire for me, was realizing that it wasn't just about the money. Because I'm not a person that is, even though I'm a financial advisor, I'm not a person that's about money. That's never been my focus. My focus has been quality. And that's just throughout my whole life. So understanding that not only did this address the issues that in 2008, I was still in college at the time, but I graduated into a market where I couldn't get a job. Not only understanding that this was something that was going to that it was created because of that, and it was something that had the potential to affect the way that we would be moving through monetary system, financial institutions, all this stuff, like socioeconomic implications of it. My mind was blown, and I just realized that this is something that I have to get into. I have to understand more about, because this is the future. And so that's how I got started.
You know what? That is fantastic, right? Because I'm glad that you went through the process of understanding, and I know from your IG, you're also trying to use humor, but educate people that they do need to go through that process. And like you said, like a lot of people will tell you, read the white paper, and the white paper is not that easy to read, especially for Bitcoin, right?
It's not like past page 4. Listen, it gets really technical. It starts mathing super math, and I'm not a math person in that way. So absolutely, it's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. But I think what people really mean is that when they tell you to read that white paper, there are certain things that if you can get through it, you kind of start understanding like where his or her logics are, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to creating Bitcoin and what the intentions were when it comes to creating Bitcoin. Like right now, the way that we're looking at Bitcoin was really not the way that Satoshi created Bitcoin, right?
Right.
We basically humanized it, right? And humanize it is now we have options. Either it's transactional or it's a store of value, right? And so therefore people, depending on where you are in what country, right? And where, financially that country's, I guess, strength are, right? Financial, what do I want to say? For lack of better words, I'm just going to say financial strengths are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to use it certain ways, right? There's a divide right now. There's, Bitcoin to some people is, oh, it's transactional. It's giving me freedom. I'm using it to buy things and do things. And then there's other people who are like, oh, I'm storing it. I'm waiting for it to get really big because I'm about to be a millionaire,
Right.
right?
Saving this for generational wealth. Yeah.
Hold on for dear life, right? So it's like depending on where you are, and I'm sure Satoshi never really imagined that people will even have that divide in this one currency, right? That he created, he or she, gotta keep
gotta keep saying the he or she.
Whether it's a he or she. There's been a lot of people that have come out to try to claim that they are Satoshi, but in essence, none of them have been believable anyways.
Right.
So, it is creating a movement, and a lot of people are seeing a value into it. And I think it is important for people to at least grace that white paper just to see that there was thought.
Absolutely.
That went into this, that it wasn't some mumble jumble that somebody created, that somebody logically went through this process and said, let me try to put this together.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And from that 9-page white paper,
mm-hmm.
right? I say 9 pages. I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's about 8 to 9 pages. I think like the last page is like some like references or something, but absolutely, like, yeah, I agree with you. Just the fact that I just read the white paper and the Bitcoin standard, like both of those together, like really helped me to see exactly what you're saying, that there was thought put into this. I might not have understood the mathing part of the math, right? But what I did understand was that there was a problem, the way that it was solving the problem. And I actually understood more than what I thought I would with reading the paper, with reading the Bitcoin paper, white paper. So I always suggest people like who are interested in getting into the space to go ahead and read it. It's literally just 8 to 9 pages. And you will understand. I believe that if you're smart enough to know that you need to be understanding this, I think you're smart enough to understand a lot of what's in the paper. And then it will also give you a more of a context when you begin to do other research, getting other books or however else you get your research when you go to like CoinMarketCap or any of these other websites to kind of understand what you're looking at. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. I always joke to people like, I can't tell you nothing really past page 4, but that 1 through 3 is one. Like that 1 through 3 is what you need to understand. So it's still it's as don't be intimidated, right? So the first, I think I was kind of pushing back a little bit when I got started too, is because I was a little bit intimidated, right? Because I was listening to people talk and they were talking hash rates and they were saying, this and staking and da da da, and like it was a lot of new vocabulary, and so I wasn't very, I was a little bit apprehensive, but once you get in and you start to understand and start to listen, even in those rooms, like, or to people who are smarter than you, who have been in this a little bit longer than you, you're going to start picking up those things. And then it starts to make more sense. Like it becomes like more of a cohesive like understanding. So start with the white paper, start with the Bitcoin standard is always my suggestion to someone. And, and then surround yourself by people who are smarter than you in this space.
So true. So true, because there's a lot of knowledge being dropped. And you are right when, those who are in this space tend to start talking, they talk to each other and not necessarily to the newbies, right? And so I want to encourage all of you who are new to this space, if there is a time that we are talking above your capability of understanding, please let us know in the chat. Come into Discord, let us know and ask questions, because that's one thing that we do want people to understand, is that this space is welcoming and we do answer questions, especially these ladies on
Yes.
stage. We
Yes.
know the pain points of entering into this space. We've been through it. We know what the questions are going to be. And then sometimes, as a fresh face looking in, you may be coming with a better form of question that may require us to dig deeper and get a better understanding of how the space is being created. Because one thing that we don't want to do is create a space full of just followers. We want to create space full of individuals that are coming with their own background and experiences that are able to add to this ecosystem here.
Absolutely, because everyone has something to offer this space, and but you don't know what that thing is until you can educate yourself on the space. So always ask questions. Even when a lot of people in the space, I've found that they are talking to each other, they're still very open, like you said, to answer questions, especially with the women here. And I'm so grateful and thankful to be amongst like, some of the most brilliant women I feel like I've ever been blessed to know. And no one yet has not answered my question, and no one has like, made me feel like I don't belong here. Right. And that is just, it's genuine, because you can go to other spaces and you feel that way. Like, you feel that way that you don't belong because you're a woman, because you're Black, because you're fill in the blank, whatever it is. But here, because this is a building of a space, and because we are, we want the majority of people that I've interacted with, and I hear other people interact with, we want this space to be very much different than what we experience right now, IRL. We want the inclusivity, and the inclusivity needs you. So come ask questions, make connections, network. And there's never there's never a better opportunity to do it than right now.
Exactly. You mentioned that with the white paper, there are some stuff that may be over your head, but there are things that you can grasp, right, at any level. It may have to be maybe over a course of several different reads or attempts of reading,
Mm-hmm.
but there are things. And at the same time, if you're finding that there are certain things that you do not understand, circle it and then find the community that's going to be able to walk you through that understanding. Now, that's all to say, I'm going to say this as well. You do not need to fully grasp everything within the white paper.
You
Okay.
don't. You don't.
The reason why people are telling you to read the white paper is because they're really sending you to start getting on the pathway of doing your own research, right? Seeing what's out there, because that first introduction to that white paper is now your foundation for judging other, right? So now you want to say, you know what, this Bitcoin white paper, let me try to see what other white papers are looking at, right? And those
Exactly.
white papers, you'll see some that are technical as well, and then you will see some that are fluff, right? And so you're able to, to differentiate between the two, but that doesn't mean that you stop there. A lot of these newer white papers, have teams that they've attached to it. They have individuals or central individuals that are attached to it. You also want to research the team, figure out who they are, what background they are. To some degree, that may be able to help you identify whether this particular cryptocurrency, new cryptocurrency, um, is worth it,
Yeah, it's
right?
actually viable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember during the ICO phase, there were several different white papers coming, right? People were creating them and churning them left and right. And one of the things that ended up happening was that we saw the team was basically a different version of the same person.
Right.
So, it was a running joke. It was a running joke that, people will put up like an image of an individual, but like have them in different outfits. Or the individual would be, what is it? Different hairstyles or something like that. But still the same individual, but they would have different names. That's a running joke, but in reality, that is something that does happen in this space, right?
It's very true. Absolutely.
You
And
know,
and not just like, with the creation of like, ICOs and like, new coins, but you kind of got to do your research on, even if you found somebody that like, you might value their opinion, and maybe they are a celebrity that has done other things, or somebody that has a brilliant mind in other spaces, but they might not be the best person to follow in this space, right? They might not be the best person to take advice or learning advice from in this space, simply because this is a new space and they haven't been here either. Like, so it's very, very much like, make sure you're doing your research on the teams, on the coins, on all of it. You gotta know the people, because also if you can go in their track record and see that they value things like community, and that they are out here doing like, different philanthropy work, and philanthropic work in order to advance communities and things like that, then you can kind of see that person's personality as well. And that goes a lot into maybe if they're creating a coin, if they're creating whatever they're creating in this space. So it's not just about, oh, they're smart, but that's great to be smart, but what are they actually, what do they value, before you go and follow them, because maybe your values don't align. And if your values don't align, you could pretty much guarantee that whatever projects they're creating aren't going to align with what you want to accomplish in this space.
that is so true. Um, you made me think of two separate things. First, with the influencers get paid, right? They get
Yes.
paid to shill certain things or market or advertise certain things, right? And their intentions are just to get paid. They're doing a work. They're doing a job, right? And so you got to be careful, who you're taking information from, right? Do your own due diligence, do your own work, and also understand that this space is really not meant for influencers to get you to go into certain things. You're supposed to be able to do it on your own, right?
Yes.
To
Yes.
divide to that conclusion on your own, not because of, I wanted to say,
We won't name names, but we know they're out there.
yeah, you guys know, right? Um, and so it's important for people to realize that it's more than just this particular person who may quote unquote be successful in their business, right? Is now shilling a certain type of cryptocurrency. And because now this person is involved in it, therefore that cryptocurrency is legit, right? Um, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way because business people make bad business decisions all the time. Influencers influence the wrong things all the time. So understand that these people are just that. They're humans. They're people just like you are. And so do your research on the technology. Do your research on the use cases. Like those are the things that really matter in this space, not the face. The face don't matter, it doesn't matter who says it. It matters what the information is that they're trying to share.
Exactly. And I forgot what the second one that I wanted to bring up. But in reference to teams, another thing that you want to do is follow their social media platforms, right? See what they're all about, right? Okay, now I remember. So, in reference to team, if their use case is helping the unbank. Look at the team. Do they look like they would be looking to bring that help, right? I mean, come on, like that. The unbank is such a popular word nowadays that a lot of people have used it, to make money, right? But in essence, there are so many reasons why people are unbanked. They're not unbanked solely because they can't happen to gain access to a bank. They can gain access to a bank, but they choose not to be oftentimes, right?
Right.
Or they don't have the means and mechanism to even store money in the bank. Like they might not have enough. They might be living paycheck to paycheck, right? So therefore, having a bank account don't mean nothing. So when certain people start to tell you, I'm going to help the unbanked, ask yourself, how are you the person to help the unbanked, right?
Yes. Yes.
What type of team do you have in place to really do that? Do you even know the reasons why the unbanked are unbanked? Because they're not, one single reason. There's multiple reasons, right?
Absolutely.
And
And
then
what have you been doing before now to help the unbank? Have you been trying to help them before now?
exactly. Because it's a catchphrase and it works and everybody wants to feel like they're doing something in this space. So therefore it will consistently come up, right? That's like the go-to default phrase for people to use nowadays. And like Tam mentioned, have they done it? Is this something that aligns with what they've historically have done? And also unbanked doesn't just mean third world countries. There are people in the US, in your country, wherever you
Absolutely.
are, unbanked as well, right?
Absolutely.
So, people need to start thinking beyond what people are telling them and what's, like you really need to see how some of these teams tie into what they're saying, right? Another thing is, with the team, you want to try to identify their social media platforms because they will disclose it. A lot of them have telegrams, they have discords. Go into those platforms. Um, Go into those platforms and make sure that you see how they interact with their potential client, I guess, investors, right? Or community, how they interact with their community. Are they nice to their community? Are they addressing questions? If someone is bringing up issues, are they addressing that issue or are they sweeping it under the rug? A lot of the
Right.
time, teams tend to sweep it under the, especially some of these teams tend to sweep some issues under the rug, and they don't want to make their Discord or Telegram look like, it's a bad space, right? Because this is where they get to market and advertise, right? So it's
Yes.
important to see that interaction, and also it's important to see who's always bringing up issues, because when you start to know about the community, you start to see that there's certain people that may be bringing up reoccurring issues that has not been addressed because they've chosen to ignore it, or are they banning people, right? For
Right.
asking questions for legitimate reasons. There's reasons to ban people. If you're a troll, ban them. But is somebody bringing up legitimate questions that you think,
Legitimate questions. Yes.
are they banning that person just because they're consistent with asking the same question, you know?
Hmm.
So you wanna see how their engagement with the community. I think another thing is how are they allocating the funds, right?
Hmm.
Is the majority of that funds going back to the team? Because there are some white papers still out there that basically give the majority of the funds back to the team. And they, they're not putting it in, back into the project, right? What's their time frame, their roadmap? Like when do they expect to have things up and running and all these things? There's so many different things there. And how are they storing their money? Are they storing it with just one account number? Or are they using multi-signatures? And a multi-sig or multi-signature is basically a means for the money that they're collecting to be stored in a vault, right? And
Yes.
in order for you to even tap into that vault and allocate money elsewhere, you need to have several signatures. And this is very important because we've known of, several different projects that have been rug pulls, right? Um,
Hmm.
Only because the funds go to one account and only that one person has access to that one account. If it's multi-signature, you as a potential, investor have the right to ask them, how is it set up? Who's approved, right? In order for that funds to be distributed, right? Because we've seen so many different ways that, these rug pulls have been conducted, and a lot of the times is because one central person has access to that particular wallet, right?
Absolutely.
Um, there's so much out there, but a lot of it is similar to, if you're going to invest money into a business, what would you want to know? It's
Yes, there's exactly. You gotta know some key facts. Like if you're gonna invest in a business. And if this is your first time like investing, I would also like, kind of suggest that you start with Bitcoin because of the simple fact that there is no central authority there, right? And you can dollar cost average, and so it doesn't matter. Like, you can start with $1, and then increase that as your knowledge increases. But it really is, being that it's the grandfather, like, it's kind of the safest bet, for a lot of those reasons that you talked about, like, rug pulls and all this stuff, like, and having like a single person that has access to the account. It's not a thing with Bitcoin. And I'm really happy that I came through to Web3, blockchain technology via Bitcoin, because it made me to then look at other coins, in a different light, like we discussed before. Like, it made me know certain questions that I should be asking before I want to invest in any other coins or any other companies. Like, it made me think about who is behind it, like, those things like that. So definitely you have to make sure that you're doing these things, that you have to make sure that you're asking the right questions. And if you don't know the questions to ask, they're out there. Like, you can literally Google what should I know about a cryptocurrency before investing it. All right. You can look for it. And you can also, again, rely on people who are, I always say, rely on people that are preaching education. Because if they're preaching education, 9 times out of 10, they're not talking about, like, getting money from you or give me money to help you get educated. They're pointing you to free resources. They are explaining things, a lot of times, like, on their time for free and that kind of stuff. So make sure that you are understanding, doing your own research, and really, really dive in deep, because this space goes deep
Yeah,
as well as the other thing. It goes deep.
it
it's
really
not it's not a surface type deal, like you can just learn a little bit and then jump into it. I'm very guilty of that in a lot of different other areas of my life. I'm like, okay, I kind of got it and I can wing it from this, but this literally touches so many different points. It's really opened my mind to so many different things, the Web3 space. And you got to go deep. You got to come on down that rabbit hole. Like we always say, come down the proverbial rabbit hole. Just keep coming, because it's the information is too vital. And I know for myself, like, I'm not a person that, like, has millions of dollars to just waste on something. I don't know about you, But when it comes to me, I like to invest smart. And so the way you do that is you got to get smarter and educate yourself. So that's kind of what I preach all the time to, like, family, friends that want me to, can you invest this for me? No, I cannot, but I can tell you where you can go start doing the research so you can understand how to do it yourself. Because any another thing is, like, any entity or person that's like, oh yeah, give it to me and I'll handle it. Like you said before, you don't need that in this space. Mm-hmm. And so what you really need to do is you need to do it yourself. It's a DIY space.
It really is. It really is. And you mentioned a few things that, I want to address. So first, this is not financial advice.
We're not financial advice.
Got to put that out there, because we are regulated by, in the US, there is a regulation called the SEC Security Exchange Commission. And, they're always, they have an ear to the ground when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And there's things that's going on right now with them trying to figure out exactly where to pigeonhole cryptocurrencies into. Mm-hmm. It's not entirely a security, but at the same time, there's really nothing that they can put it into. So they're trying to figure out where it stands and where it aligns. And I think, it's important for us to understand that, because a lot of the way that we maneuver and navigate through outside of the space in the physical realm is really because of precedence, right? If there's a rules and regulations attached to it, then people will try to look at it from that standpoint and viewpoint. And so when Bitcoin and Ethereum started to gain popularity, like around 2017 and 2018, regulatory bodies were looking at it and they were like, you know what? This seems gonna, interesting and maybe familiar, so we need to dig deeper. Ultimately, what happened was that they decided that Bitcoin, right, was not deemed to be a security. That was the commissioner, I forgot the name, but for the SEC at that time. And then also the Commodities and Future also came out and said that it was not a commodity as well. So Bitcoin was exempt. Ethereum also was looked at as well, and they also got that exemption. Things could change, but as of right now, there is the exemption for those two. All others, they say that they will look at it on a case-by-case basis. We're now in the US, what is it, some 4 or so years later, right? And they're going after some, and it's not that they're going after them because of whether they deem it to be securities or not. They're really going after them because of the way that people are navigating in this space, and really because of the way that people that are tied to that cryptocurrency are marketing the cryptocurrency. So, like, what type of language and what type of words are they saying? Are they marketing it in a way that it's suitable for something like this, right? So it's unregistered. It's an unregistered security, right? Or I hate to even say security, but it's unregistered right now. And because it's unregistered, you got to be careful about the way that you mention or advertise, or what type of information you provide about all the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, about the asset, exactly. Like an unregistered asset at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we always have to put that disclosure that this is not financial advice, because ultimately, if they do deem it to be a security, then in essence, we may have violated some kind of SEC rules and regulation.
Right.
So that you just got to listen on why you hear so many times this is not financial advice. But yeah, so going back to researching these cryptocurrencies, it is very much important for people to take their time and not be FOMO'd in, right?
Yes.
which is
Yes,
the way that a lot of people do get introduced into this space. They see on the news that it's making a lot of money, and therefore they want to jump in.
exactly.
Or you know,
And that's like a prime, like that's like a green flag for a scammer, by the way. If you
exactly.
are looking to make millions, like that's a huge green flag. You're telling the scammer, like, I'm right here, like, come find me.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
got it. But the more educated you are, like, the less that they have the ability to manipulate you in order to get, like, your funds or your cryptos or your keys or whatever they're after, your information. So a lot of them are after, like, multiple types of things. And so absolutely, you gotta be mindful that, this is a space where it's going to take time. Anything, like they say, anything that's, like, worth having is worth waiting for, right? So there's that. And then, like, because also a lot of these people who people, like, heard, like, oh, Bitcoiners, like, they went up, blah blah, like they 10x their money, whatever it was. A lot of those people got started back in before 2017, like, so that's why you're hearing, like, I think a lot of that. Like, is there still opportunity here? Yes, absolutely. And a lot, same thing with some of the other coins, like, there's still opportunity. However, a lot of it took time to grow and build. And so it's not going to happen overnight. This whole space, we're literally building out every single day. It's not built yet, and it's taking time. Same thing is going to happen if the crypto or whatever you're looking at, any type of investment, period. It takes time to get to return that money on your investment.
It does. It does. It's not instantaneous growth. There's a lot of iterations that need to happen. Some some cryptocurrencies, they're finding that it's slow growth progress, right? Some of them have been around since 2016 and still have not hit that $1 mark, right? So, you can't come into the space and think, oh, I'm just gonna make a lot of money, like Tam said. It's one of those, you do have to invest in a use case, right? You do have to invest in the purpose of that cryptocurrency. And that's why we're saying do your own research, right? That's why we're walking through the white paper and the significance of those white papers, because those white papers give you a lot of context into what the creators and the team is working towards, or say they're working towards, right? And it's important for you, if you happen to be someone that buys into what they're working towards, knowing that context, right? It's important for you to be vocal when you feel like they're not aligning with what they say that they were initially going to do, right? And a lot of good projects, they will let you know if they need to pivot, because maybe they're creating the code and they're realizing that what they say is different from reality, right? But if they're deviating too much, you need to.
Might be time for you to divest. Like, might be time for you to get out of there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, reading that white paper and doing your own research is powerful. It's important because it's the community that's uplifting these projects. It's the community that's basically steering the direction, the movement of these projects, right? Because, Bitcoin is doing well because there's a lot of people that are finding value in it. There are a lot of people that are using the currency, the cryptocurrency, for transaction reasons. There are a lot of people that are using it for store value reasons. So it is finding value in it, right? And so, you know, coins telling you they're going to 10 times and all these things, that's a red flag right there. If you,
Absolutely.
because how does that happen? Like, if it's community driven, like, how are you going to make it 10 times and all these things,
Mhm.
right?
Or, like, if it's community driven and you're saying this 10 times, but, like, one person holds, like, the majority of the coins, like, that doesn't sound very community driven, and also
Mhm.
it doesn't sound like it can go 10 times if you're the only person that's holding it.
Exactly.
Like, so it's a lot of things that's just, if you put the pieces together, right, it don't make sense. And if it don't make sense, it's not for me. I'm gonna tell you that it's not for me. But
It should not be for anyone.
Should be for anyone if it
Time and
doesn't make
time
sense.
again, we find people who fall for the okey doke in this space. We find people because somebody told them that it's going to do well. Like you're literally now relying on a person, an individual, as opposed to the technology, right? Because we realize this space is really created because we realize that we live in a trustless society. That
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't trust each other. We don't
Yes.
trust institutions. We don't trust what's going on. So we are relying on technology to build that trust for us, right? So now when you start to rely on someone that's going to tell you, "Oh, I'm going to 10 times your money," you're foregoing the technology and you're saying, "I'm going to rely on this person who's telling me this," right? This person who's
Mm-hmm.
telling you that has no other incentive but to get you to buy into what they're telling you, right?
Absolutely.
And so you got to be careful there. You will get a lot of pop-ups and IG posts, messages. Even YouTube now has a lot of people who are utilizing it because they know people are seeking information to share
Mm-hmm.
or advertise their projects, right? And that project is now being marketed to people, and so you got to be careful that way, right? If you're doing your own due diligence, finding the white paper should not be the hardest thing for you to find.
Right.
I mean, like,
Absolutely.
if they are hiding their white paper, that's a freaking red
Red
flag
flag.
there.
Super red flag. Super red flag. The fact that the Bitcoin white paper is out there, it's free. You can go right
Everywhere.
now, Google it. It is everywhere. Like I have a copy of it here in my bag. Like I print it out just so I can go back to it on occasion. I don't know. I think half of me thinks like maybe I'll be able to understand that complex math at some point. But like, it's out there. The information is readily available. And the way I looked at it when in talking about Bitcoin versus like, a lot of other things that are happening, if I don't understand this, right? I don't understand the math part and I don't understand necessarily the coding part or any of that, but there are people who have invested millions and billions because they do understand it to say set up nodes and that kind of thing, then I can kind of trust that it's not just, and they're not just like from one central place. Like these people that have invested, they've invested like all across the globe, because they've read it and they like you say, understand the value. And I can kind of lean on somebody else's expertise in that manner, but not for them actually making the decision for me whether or not to go in on it. So it's very much like, and then a lot of times we get that information about, oh, you should go into on this blah blah X coin whatever from somebody that doesn't even know the first thing about code. He doesn't even know the first thing about creating a coin either. Like, and they're going off of somebody else that told them, right? And never really like, the technology, like leaning on the technology, like you said. So be very, very careful.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when people starts to tell you about this cryptocurrency, just ask them, what is the use case? Like use case to be simple and to the point. It should
Yeah.
not, you're going to 10 times, okay, that's good, but what's the use case? That's not an answer
That's
for
not a use case. That's
that.
not a use
That's
case.
oftentimes a response because they don't know themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
I found, someone has presented to me a new cryptocurrency and it's going to 10 times and all these things, and we were asking the person, what is the use case? Oh, it's a combination of Shiba and Doge and all these things, and it's going to do. I'm just like, why do we need a combination?
Yeah. and but what does it do?
What
Like
does it
what
do
does it
exactly,
do?
right?
Yeah. What
It
problem is it solving? Like,
exactly.
like any of those questions, if you can't answer any of those questions, then it's probably, I mean, that's a huge red flag. And like I said, I wouldn't do it. Knowing what I know. And like I said, the fact that you can just read the Bitcoin white paper, you can know a little bit about the whole space just by reading that. If it doesn't fit into like giving me a reason, like the first thing the Bitcoin white paper starts out with is the reason why it was created, right?
Mhm.
It tells you like, it was an alternate system and it solves the double spending problem. Okay, period. Like that was super easy, right? And a lot of things just they just don't say it. they don't spread that knowledge to the people that are out here talking about the coin. Like, they don't tell them why they're making it, besides that we're going to Pluto or wherever we're going right now, and that's not for me, that's not enough reason for me to risk, like, that's not enough for my risk, like, tolerance,
Yeah.
and just the fact that I do believe in, being smart about these things. It's not a smart move. Like, let's be honest, it's not a smart move. They always say, if it sounds too good, it is too good. It's too good to be true. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And you're not gonna tell me I'm gonna put $50 in here, and in like 3 months I'm gonna have like 5,000. That sounds really too good to be true. That sounds too good to be true. Because if that were the case, why isn't everybody doing it? Like, why isn't everybody, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, why aren't banks? Why aren't, like, anybody else doing that? And so it's too good to be true for me. A lot of things that pop up just sound too good to be true. And so I err on the side of super caution by staying in my lane and staying with what I understand, and then researching anything else I want to find out.
It's true. And, you don't need to be involved in all cryptocurrencies, right?
Right.
I think it's important for people to realize that. I think FOMO gets people to react and get involved in things that they really should not get involved in. And so you really need to reassess and evaluate why you're in this space. Like, what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking to 10 times your money? If that's the case, then this may not be the space for you, right?
I mean, you might as well go ahead and go to like the nearest casino and put some money down, because that's what you're doing when it comes to, like, you don't know any research, you don't know anything, like, there's no real, like, you don't have any skill in this space. You're just throwing money and hoping to make more. That sounds like gambling to me,
Yeah. Okay. And then one last thing, because I do see Najah. So, it's important for people to understand that all of these cryptocurrencies they weren't just created yesterday. Bitcoin has been around for 13 years. Okay. So for 13 years, it has made that climb to, what is it, around $41,000 right now?
Yeah, I think today it's around 41.
And it did skyrocket to 60, right? But 13 years to get here. So, when you start to hear the news on on the radio or on TV, etc. Yes, it may look like it's instantaneous and everybody is just becoming millionaires and billionaires up in this place. That's not really the case, right?
That's not it.
It does take time. And even with Dogecoin, because I think that was the one that most people are probably really aware of, most, right? Even with Dogecoin has been around since 2016, I believe, or maybe even a little bit, a few years prior to, right? So it wasn't instantaneous for that too. They stayed under less than a penny for a fraction of
a penny, a long time.
So when you heard all of those millionaires, that were being created, they were holding for a minute. It wasn't something that just happened. And mind you, they weren't putting, like $100,000 into it. Like not the smart ones, right? Because oftentimes if you're holding like a fraction of a penny and you purchase it during that time, and when it was a fraction of a penny, then you probably put $20 and now it's doing a lot, right? So
Right.
people have to understand that there's value in this space, but then it really requires you to do your own research, and doing your own research is significant. There's significance there, and it does require a lot of work from you in order to get in. And that work should not be, let me listen to someone tell me what to do, right?
Yes.
Work really
Yes.
derived from you coming to your own conclusion and saying, based on what I know and what I understand, I'm going to go ahead. And if you choose to move ahead with, Dogecoin, then move ahead knowing that it's going to fluctuate, right?
Yes.
They stay at less than a fraction of a penny for a long time before it makes a movement, or it may go away, right? Because
Hmm.
I know during the ICO craze when I was involved, there were some stuff that I put, some little bit of something there, and it went nowhere. They disappeared. So therefore, I was comfortable. So you have to be comfortable with the amount of money that you're providing because you've done your research, right? Do
Right.
not put in your entire life savings. That's ridiculous. Never do that. Diversify is important. If you're going to be in this space, you want to, find out the different type of use case that aligns with what you want, right? And diversify your portfolio. That's very much important as well. Um, but we say all this not to scare you, but just to
Not to
prepare
scare
you
you, prepare you.
in a way that's realistic, right? Because we want you to stay. We don't want you to say, you know what, I'm not doing anything. And we don't want
Right.
to even have the mindset of, oh, I made something, therefore this is good. This is how it's supposed to be. No, we really want you to come with, the intention of knowing that you create your own pathway in this space, right? You are involved. There's opportunities all across the globe here for you. But it does require you to walk in it in a smart way.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And that's it.
That's it.
We're going to
That's
take
it.
a 2-minute break and then we'll be right back.
We're back. Hi.
Hey, yes, we're back. All right. So, we are going to introduce Najah back to host her own Mind Your Money Monday. We were grateful to be able to step in and talk about, cryptocurrencies and what doing your own research mean. There's a lot more that we can dive into. We may be able to come back to you and present you with some other things because finding where these cryptocurrencies or what the names are is also important too, right? And being able to walk through that space is very much a task within itself. But there are
Absolutely.
resources.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm excited about Najah Roberts. Like I listened to her on a KBLA radio station. I met her in Bitcoin Miami like last year. I've been just a super fan of hers in the BBB. Like she does so many great things in this space for the community and just really bringing education. She's one of those people I talk about that preaches education in this space, and so super super important. And I'm just excited to see what she has for us today.
Yes, I'm gonna bring her up.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Najah.
I
How are
thank you
you?
all. I thank you all for all that you do. It's been a whirlwind. This space is just incredible. Things happen at the drop of a dime. And I'm going to share with you all, I guess I can publicly say it. So I want to say thank you, but I can publicly, as of right now, tell you all that I was late today because through the cryptocurrency space, and this is what we're talking about, mining our money. I just got off the line with the Cash App Foundation and the Sean Carter Foundation and Rock Nation. And so we're going to be educating those folks in Marcy Homes.
Oh
Um,
wow! Congrats!
so
Congratulations.
that is what that was the beginning emergency this morning. Because they told us on Friday we need you on at 6 a.m., which is 6 a.m. here, to talk to these foundations so we can get this project rolling. I got myself along with Lamar Wilson. We're going to be educating 4,000 people on what cryptocurrency is, how it works, and they're going to actually be giving them Bitcoin in their wallets. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say how much, but it's a lot for every resident. And so I'm excited about that. So that's what I just got finished doing. So thank you, ladies, for being flexible. Thank you, listeners, for being flexible. This space is moving, ladies and gentlemen, and mass adoption is coming. So if you didn't hear anything else anybody's been telling you all, you are not too late. This is the very, very beginning of the rest of our lives because this thing is getting ready to take off. So just get ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Najah. I'm super excited for you. Just know you have a volunteer here. If you need any help, I'm always open to help out in this space, and especially people that are giving back to community and doing great things.
We definitely will
Yes.
need you. We need everybody because this is a big endeavor for us to educate our community. We got to do it however we can. So
No, this is major.
yes.
Super
And
major.
And congratulations. I mean, we knew that you were working on something, and there's other things that are popping up. So definitely, we want to give you grace and space in order to do what you do because you have been working tirelessly for the community, have been doing your thing. And so we acknowledge that and we celebrate you and are ready to help you however way we can.
Well, thank you, sis. Thank you, both of you. Thank you. So I'm ready to present wallets. We'll talk about wallets if you haven't already. I'm
Oh
ready.
no, it's on you. Go right ahead.
Yeah. All right. We'll be backstage.
All right, let's see, my computer here. Hold on one second, ladies and the men who love us. Hold on. Let me get my share on. Think we're there. Let's move that over there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to talk about wallets. So, cryptocurrency wallets. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's say it that way. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And so let's talk about, first of all, what a flaming hot wallet is. Now, I have these crazy categories of wallets. So nobody else teaches cryptocurrency like this, but I have these crazy ones, and I call this a flaming hot wallet. These are places that you never, ever, 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 ever want to buy cryptocurrency. And that is Webull, Venmo, PayPal, and SoFi. So why do I have these four on the screen for you never to buy Bitcoin from them, or cryptocurrency for that matter? Is because they never allow you to take your Bitcoin off their platform and put it into your own private wallet. We have talked about and discussed that if you do not own your private keys, you do not own your coin. So in essence, all you did, if you went to a Webull platform or Venmo or any one of these four, you will have in essence just bought Bitcoin and given it to them and their family, but they gave you exposure because when you log on to their website, you can actually see what you bought, but you can't touch it. So it's like going to the store and buying a purse. You buy that purse, but you leave it in Nordstrom's for them to show it to everybody else, but you can never take it home. So this is what we don't want to do. And using these four platforms will get you exactly that. You will have no Bitcoin, just the exposure, and then the privilege of saying that you own something that you can't touch. So please stay away from these flaming hot wallets. Do not buy here. My next category of wallets is called a hot wallet. Now, a hot wallet, again, is an exchange where you can buy Bitcoin, but you do not have your private keys, meaning they are custodians. They are holding your Bitcoin for you until you're ready to get it. So just like at the bank, you go, you deposit your money, you hold your money there in the bank until you go either log online and request that money be sent somewhere else, or until you walk into the bank, get your money, and do whatever you want to do with it. So this is the exact same thing. So the reason why I deem these hot wallets is because they are 100% online. You only have access to your Bitcoin when you go and get it from them and put it into your private wallet. So these wallets are not bad. They're just hot. If you are thinking about getting into cryptocurrency to trade, you definitely need to be using a hot wallet because you need the cryptocurrency or the money there. So when you want to make a trade at the drop of a dime, you can absolutely do that because it's already 100% online. You don't have to go into your cold storage, then move it to your hot wallet to then trade. You can trade. That's what mostly a hot wallet is for. Or just going to buy your Bitcoin and then moving it to your private wallet. There is nothing wrong with using a hot wallet. We don't want you to use the burning hot wallets, but to use the hot wallets is absolutely okay. It's something that you can do. Just know that you also need to be in control of your thoughts as to how much you can afford to leave on these exchanges. Because when you leave your Bitcoin on exchanges, on hot wallets, inside of the exchange, they are subject to any type of hacks or anything like that. And so there's a lot of different mechanisms in place. I know that we have on the Black Wall Street wallet some mechanisms in place to ensure that no one can hack into that protocol because we are using a third party called Prime Trust to hold and be a custodian for everybody's Bitcoin. And I think Gemini and Binance, eToro, Cash App, they all have custodial accounts that try to make it more secure. But your crypto.coms, we know that they have had some issues. And I don't have them up here, not necessarily on purpose, but just be careful with leaving your crypto Bitcoin on any of these custodian type platforms for any period of time. Again, it's okay to buy it there, but do not leave it there. You want to move it to your private wallet. And we'll talk about that in a second and what that looks like. So these are considered hot, but not burning hot, but just hot. 100% online. Then the next category is hot wallets that are not preferred. So let me take a second and just talk about this, because we always hear about Coinbase. So why do I not prefer Coinbase? I don't prefer Coinbase for a couple of different reasons. When it's very, very important for you to make your trades and do some of the things that you need to do. Coinbase, or buy or sell Bitcoin, get in on it or get out of it. Coinbase, typically their website shuts down and it's not accessible. Now, we know we're in the tech space and we know that something's wrong with that picture. So that's one of the things. Another thing about Coinbase are the high fees. Coinbase has high fees. And if you decide, no matter what I say, to still use Coinbase Pro as opposed to Coinbase, because there are some cheaper, use Coinbase Pro. It's cheaper than Coinbase. And then last but not least, Coinbase's treatment of their Black employees has been horrific. And so we want to make sure that moving forward, that Coinbase has corrected that. I've heard some folks that are telling me that the atmosphere, the environment at Coinbase is changing. So I'm curious to find out how that is working out. And so we're going to inspect what we expect. So I will give you all the ups on that very, very shortly. And then secondly, we tell everybody, do not use Robinhood. And it's a preferred, not preferred wallet by me, because I feel like Robinhood has been robbing the hood since they opened their doors, day one. So be very careful about their fees. Also, Robinhood has now started allowing people to take their Bitcoin off to put in their personal wallet. That's why it moved from my burning hot situation to not preferred. But it is a hot wallet that you can utilize to buy Bitcoin and then move it off, but it's not preferred because of the fees. And if you're doing stock over there, let me just take a second to tell you, you would do better on TD Ameritrade, a much cheaper platform than Robinhood. These are warm wallets. Warm wallets, in my opinion, are halfway online, halfway offline. And so these wallets are wallets that I prefer, that I use, and I don't tell anybody to use anything that I haven't used. Tried and true. So Edge Wallet is one that I rock with all day, every day. We use this for our exchange. Trust Wallet, Exodus Wallet, Blue Wallet. These are just great wallets. You get your private keys. You can set up to have your private keys on these wallets. Blue Wallet is a decentralized, a DeFi wallet. And I love it. I love its functionality. Again, it gives you your private key. So at this point in your cryptocurrency life, this is where you begin to be self-sovereign. You have your private keys, so you have your coin. It is yours at this point when you move it to this platform. So you may have bought it on Binance or Kraken or Coinbase or Gemini or Robinhood. Now you can move it into this warm wallet. This does not cost you anything because it is software on your computer. So this is the stage that you get into self-sovereignty. So that's a warm wallet. And then you have the cold wallet. These are your Trezors that you see here. This is AliPal. There's other types of storage that you can use. I have something called CryptoTag. There's all sorts of devices. And Ledger, which is my favorite, Ledger. These are actual physical devices that you store your cryptocurrency through. Now, your cold storage devices are not where your Bitcoin is actually held. These storage devices, I would like to liken it to a key. This is just the key to unlock the blockchain, to allow you to go in and move your Bitcoin from one part on the blockchain to another block on the blockchain, or go in and move your Bitcoin from one part on the blockchain to sell it to someone else on another part of the blockchain. So that's what these keys allow you to do, is move your Bitcoin. So if you lose one of these physical devices, you have not lost your Bitcoin forever. As long as you have your seed words or your private keys, your mnemonic phrases. They're called a lot of different things, but that is what a cold wallet. I call it a cold wallet because it is totally 100% offline until you actually plug it into your computer and you make it live, and you're able to make transactions and trade and do all those things. But you got to move your cryptocurrency from these cold wallets back into one of those warm wallets or hot wallets to be able to transact. So that is what a cold storage wallet is. And then last but not least, this is my ice cold wallet. These are paper wallets that you get off the the ATM machines, the Bitcoin ATM machines. So if there's a Bitcoin ATM machine out there, most of the time they spit out these pieces of paper that have your private and public keys on there. And so the problem with these ice cold wallets is, yes, they're 100% offline, but if you lose this paper, let's say somebody gets this sheet of paper, they have both your public and private key. They can log into the blockchain and move your Bitcoin. And then the other thing about this is, as you know, if you have a receipt, if you get a receipt wet, the ink dissipates. If you get water on this or perfume, or it's sitting in your purse too long, and any of these numbers become transposed, you, ladies and gentlemen, have totally lost your Bitcoin because you lost the key to get into your Bitcoin on the platform. So moving from there, if you leave it out in the sun, if you've ever seen a receipt when you left it out in the sun, the ink dissipates. You will lose your Bitcoin forever. So we want to be very careful when we're using those Bitcoin ATM machines and getting these pieces of paper out, because if you lose it or something happens, you no longer ever have access to your Bitcoin. And that is what an ice cold wallet is. So again, to just really recap, you have your flaming hot wallets where you never want to buy ever because they never give you your Bitcoin. You have your hot wallets 100% online, no self-sovereignty, not your keys, not your coin. Then you have your not preferred wallets, because we got to figure out what they're doing with fees and stuff like that, or if they're treating their employees good. They're still hot. These are your warm wallets, and this is not all of them. There's tons of wallets, ladies and gentlemen. You pick which one works best for you with your flow and what you're doing. And then we have the cold storage wallet. All of these you have to purchase. And they start at about $60 to, I don't know, $150, $200, depending on what you are doing. There's also something that goes alongside this called a multi-signature wallet that I didn't talk about in here, but it also fits in the cold wallet space. So that means that there has to be 2 or 3 devices or 2 or 3 people present at one time in order to move something from the blockchain from one place to the next. And that's something that we do need to know about. It exists. So, and some people do things like, which I don't like. I don't really like, and I don't like it particularly because it wouldn't work for my children. But some people give one child 6 words and another child 6 words and another child 7 words, and they all have to come together to make up the 24. Like, there are just so many different things that people do when it comes to this cold storage, cold wallet thing, to ensure that that no one person is able to get in and actually get into the blockchain without the permission of others. So there's several things. I don't like that particular model of giving certain amount of kids certain words in your family, because one child can just get mad and then nobody has anything, and that would be my daughter, right? So I don't like that method at all, and I would never subject all of my other children to my daughter's whim, because she'd rather go broke or let them go broke if she gets mad than sharing those seed words. So I don't think that will work for everybody. But there's a lot of people that's what they're doing. They break up their words amongst their children. Their children need to get together at the in the case of their untimely death or demise, and then they're able to access the blockchain to get the Bitcoin through that way. But I'm doing something totally different. We're doing, we have our own way that we're storing. But that's what a cold wallet actually serves as well. They have seed words, mnemonic phrases. So I just wanted to put that out there so you know that. And again, there's those ice cold wallets. I would say stay away from these because I've run into so many people that have lost them, and there's nothing we can do once you lose them. There's also another caveat, or not caveat. What's a caveat for the ATM machine people? They can actually set this up where if you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin and you only go in and take and move $50 off, that it's a one-time access to this document. So you may not even get back in to get the other 50. So I say be very careful when you're getting these types of ice cold wallets out of those machines. So be careful about that. And then I just wanted, for the sake of us being in the International Women of Blockchain Week, to just let folks know about the minority-owned wallets and exchanges that are around the world. A lot of people in New York have a lot of issues with getting and obtaining Bitcoin. So you definitely can utilize, and these are just minority-owned companies. I know that there's a lot of other companies out there, but I just felt the need to let you know about the minority-owned companies. So you have the Black Wall Street Wallet, which is your actor Hill Harper. My exchange is called Crypto Blockchain Plug. In the UK, you have CoinFloor. In New York, you have Blockquake. And the Bitcoin Bank is coming to a hood near you very soon. That is my brand, my new brand for the 41 locations we're opening in the United States. And then you have the Edge Wallet. That is a minority-owned company as well. And so we are in this space trying to provide you with the best wallets and cryptocurrency services available. So stay tuned for some of those other things that I just named. And last but not least, this wasn't supposed to be on here, but I have the Digital Virtual Underground Railroad for those of you that are interested in getting involved with me, helping you walk through this cryptocurrency space. I have my own platform called the Virtual Underground Railroad, and I can be found every day teaching on KBLA. This information, I thought they updated, but it's quite okay. I'm on at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is 4 Eastern on KBLA. It is an app that you can download on your phone, KBLA Talk 1580. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to contact me, here's my information. You can just take a picture of the screen with your cell phone, and you can reach me whenever you need to. I will open up for questions while I make my move to the car. I can still answer questions after the break. But if there are any questions out there anybody has as it relates to wallets or anything like that, please feel free to ask those questions.
Thank you very much, Najah. That was fantastic. I love the breakdown of the different wallet. And I also love the fact that you went through some of the issues that we have with Coinbase, right? Because that's important to talk about. And it's so true. Like we even found out, even with the Super Bowl and them putting that QR code out there that, their website crashed. It just seems like they anticipate to have people follow directions, right? Or people trade, but when people are actually following through, and wanting to make those trades, for some reason, their system is never up to par.
Yeah.
And this has been a consistent issue, as well as the fact that, we have heard about the issues with the way that they treat minorities. And I know you did mention that someone had said that they're working through that, and hopefully that is something that we can realize soon. But they still need to address those issues with, people being able to trade and not having their system shut down on us when we need to trade. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, are there any questions out there? Anyone have any? And whoever said love, I couldn't catch the name. I love you too. And anything we need to do to help you move forward, Josh, let me know.
All right, Najah, I know you're busy. There is no questions right now, but if there are, people can always reach you in a Discord. I will definitely follow up with you if there happen to be any questions. We're going to give you grace to leave because I know you're busy. There's some place that you need to go to. I think there's a quick question that just came in.
Yes.
I have a few questions I have a few coins on Voyager. They are coming up as non-transferable. Is my only option to sell them and rebuy?
So I think Voyager, and I'm gonna Google while I'm talking here. But I believe Voyager had a way for you to. Is it? Well, they can't answer me. There are, I believe you can move your Bitcoin, but there were some coins because of the liquidity, they did not allow you to. You should be able to move your funds. You may just need to be able to KYC. So there's certain assets, that's what it was. There's certain assets on Voyager that are permissible to move, but there were certain ones that are not. And so if I can show you really quickly. This is Node. Let me share my screen.
So she said it's Luna.
Okay. I'm going to show, I think I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So if you can bear with me for 2 seconds. These are the cryptocurrencies on Voyager that you can transfer as of February 1st. And so you said Luna? So Luna is not on the list. So they have their own specific list of cryptocurrencies that you can move. And I don't know why that is. A lot of it has to do with liquidity, ladies and gentlemen, because when you buy on these exchanges and some of these wallets, they don't have the liquidity that they profess to have. I'm just going to be honest, which is why at the beginning of every single year on January 3rd, we ask these exchanges to what we call proof up, means show us you really have what we bought on your exchange. That's why it's so important to get your cryptocurrency from a place where you can then move it off into your own private wallet. So no, it's not listed there. So if you go to investvoyager.com, it'll talk to you about what cryptocurrencies are transferable and which ones are not. So hopefully that helps.
All right. I think that was the only question that we have. So we'll give you the space to leave. Okay. And thank you very much for presenting the wallets. I really appreciate it.
If you need me to come back the second hour, if you just give me an opportunity to get in the car, I can log back on. I would be more than happy to talk about some of the projects and stuff, collaborative partners stuff now that I'm not under NDA that I can talk about. So in the cryptocurrency space. So just give me a second to get on in the car, and then I can chime back in after, whenever you get ready. You can just
awesome. Let us go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back with Najah. All right, we're back. We're back. We're just waiting for Najah to log back in. And then we'll go into what she's creating and building in this space. So I'm really excited to find out because I know she's been working really hard and she's dedicated to bringing education and awareness about cryptocurrency in this space. So I'm sure she has some major news to drop on us. So it's going to be celebration time, right? And this is the right platform to do just that. But, while we're waiting for her, let's go back to our conversation. There are a few platforms that I wanted to introduce people to. And one of those platforms is Coin Market Cap, right? And so people are able to use Coin Market Cap to be able to access these different wallets. Just trying to make this bigger so you guys can see it. So Coin Market Cap, with people who are interested in, actually, I'm in the wrong section, excuse me. Okay, so Coin Market Cap. I know a lot of people are interested in finding out where can you find out all of these cryptocurrencies that are out there. There is this platform, Coin Market Cap, that has actually cultivated all the cryptocurrencies that are out there, and that they have a wealth of information about these cryptocurrencies. From what's trending, what is it? A few of the cryptocurrencies just started gaining a lot of popularity and notoriety, or just came into the scene. Which the ape coin came into the scene recently, and you can also see how it's performing. Phantom is another cryptocurrency that's actually, it didn't just come into the scene. It's been around for I think a few months or something. But you can see that it is trending. Pancake Swap has been around for a while now. And that's also trending because it's going up. The biggest gainers, you can look at that. Recently added, you can look at that. And then it gives you like a whole comprehensive list of all the cryptocurrencies that are out there. It breaks it down by price, how it's done within the last 24 hours, within the last 7 days. The market cap. A lot of people look at the market cap. How many of them are out there? And so you get an idea of the market cap and the volumes that are being traded for these cryptocurrencies. You get that information as well. There's other information that is also included. I'm going to expand so you guys can see everything. You also see the circulating supply, how many is currently being traded, and then the last 7 days graphic as well. You can click on each one and get a more detailed information about the cryptocurrency there. It's just taking a while. Okay, there it is. Okay. Just a slow computer. So on your right-hand side, you get a accurate snapshot of the value or the value of the cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin currently right now is at $40,000. And, you can see that it went down slightly because we did mention earlier that it was 41. So it did go down. It will give you information, an overview at the bottom. You'll see an overview, a market information, historical data, the holdings, project information, wallets that holds this, news, social, rating, et cetera, right? So it gives you a wealth of information about these cryptocurrencies out there. You could even look at the graphs, right? And people use CoinMarketCap as a really great platform to be able to gather all kinds of information about each of their cryptocurrencies. So when we say do your own due diligence, really, this is one of those platforms that are out there for you to do that due diligence, and for also for you to be able to identify which cryptocurrencies are out there and which one just came onto the scene, etc. So there are ways for you to tap into this space, right? So you won't be navigating blindly. You'll have resources like this that are out there. There's also others that people use, which is CoinGecko. CoinGecko is another platform that other people use, and it's COI and GECKO, Gecko. So CoinGecko, similar to CoinMarketCap, it gives you a breakdown of each of the crypto changes. It gives you a 24-hour and 7 days, 24-hour volume, and then market cap, and then the last 7 days as well. So it does give you the same information, but slightly different, right? Because CoinMarketCap does give you the trends that's going on, as well as other hot topics that you may be interested in regards to these cryptocurrencies. So by clicking on it, once again, you're around the same, and it gives you a more thorough breakdown of where it is. It does also aligns you with the communities that are talking about this particular cryptocurrency, that are talking about Bitcoin. So you can go there and find information. This is on the right-hand side, which wallets you can hold these cryptocurrencies in. And this is very important because Najah just went through the wallets, right? So because these cryptocurrencies, a lot of them are created off a different chain or blockchains. Like the blockchain that created Bitcoin is definitely different from the blockchain that created Ethereum. And so oftentimes you can't store them on the same wallet because each wallet are created by the chain, the blockchain. And so, Exodus is strictly for Bitcoin. while MetaMask is strictly for anything on the Ethereum chain, right? However, these hardware wallets, they are able to assist you in storing the same the different cryptocurrencies into one hardware wallet. So they've advanced, and so you will see some of those hardware wallets as a Ledger, a Trezor, Electrum is another one. Trust Wallet is another wallet that you can store both for Bitcoin as well as other wallets in. So it's important for you to know that, because if you were to transfer a Bitcoin into a MetaMask, you lose your coins, right? Because they're different chains. There's no alignment there. So you're essentially sending your Bitcoin into air, and no one is able to retrieve that information. So you want to make sure that when you're sending your Bitcoin or transferring it from one location to the other, that wallet is able to actually retain and accept that particular cryptocurrency. So that's very much important. Information about Bitcoin you can find here. Communities that are talking about it is here. They are also providing you with source codes that aligns with that particular cryptocurrency. Gitcoin has a white paper, I believe, as well as the source code created Bitcoin. That's also published there. And for other cryptocurrencies, that's usually an open source code that you can tap into. So that information is there if you want to dig deeper. As Tam mentioned, it could take you down a rabbit hole. There's a lot of content and wealth of information that are out there for everyone to tap into. And so we definitely want to make sure that you guys have the capabilities of tapping into that information for you. So once again, CoinGecko is one of them. And then Coin Market Cap is another. So when you hear those words, you know that someone, you know what they're referencing, and you know what information you'd be able to find in those different platforms. So I strongly suggest that you guys take a look at Coin Market Cap as well as CoinGecko, and see what's out there. Maybe you may stumble upon a new cryptocurrency. Look into it. You can dig deeper and find out what it's actually about, what the use cases are, because they do provide you with that thorough information as well. And you can dig deeper and see if it aligns with what you're looking for. And that's it. I'm gonna minimize this and see if there are any questions. All right, Najah is back. All right, so I will go ahead and stop sharing, and then I will bring her up to the stage because I know we're all excited to hear from her. Hey, Najah.
Hi, hello. Thank you for everything, just being patient with me today. Is this good? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So, I guess at this last little thing, last part of our hour, if you don't mind, a couple of people had asked me some questions about some of the projects that we're working on in conjunction with different organizations. So I like to call a lot of this stuff Bitcoin for good, um, so that everybody really understands what we're doing. So some of the projects, one of the first things that I want to share is that for those of you that are in the DC area or close to the DC area, on April the 4th, that is a Monday, we will be on Capitol Hill. The blacks and Latinos in cryptocurrency are going to be on Capitol Hill. We're going to be talking to them specifically about Bitcoin, and actually protesting, talking to them because they haven't listened to us in the past. So what's been going on, so you understand why we are so passionate, is when it comes to our community, Senate, Congress, all these individuals have been going to other people asking them what they think should be done in our community. And it's really disheartening. And so, what we're going to Capitol Hill to say is, we're here. Ask us, talk to us, see us. We are the Black and brown community. Coincidentally, have the most use of cryptocurrency in this entire space. If you look at us per capita, it shows that Blacks and Latinos are utilizing cryptocurrency more than anyone else in this space. And so, what we're asking Capitol Hill to do is be present, to see us, and to talk to us about our community, and stop asking other people that are outside of our community what's good for us, because we're grown, we understand, and we know. And so, one of the Bitcoin projects that we're doing specifically as it relates to Bitcoin is those congressional candidates that are running for Congress and that are Bitcoin savvy and Bitcoin advocates. We're getting behind them to flip the seat that they're going running against. So Brad Sherman, it is our goal to flip his seat. The young lady that we are endorsing, her name is Erica Rhodes, Aarika. We don't live in her district, but what we're doing is helping her phone bank. And you can phone bank now by just using your cell phone wherever you are, to just send text messages. It's like really incredible. I think last week on Wednesday, I sent 2,000 text messages in 8 minutes utilizing this new platform. But we're endorsing those candidates. And then in the DC area, we have Reverend Wendy. She is running for Congress to unseat her incumbent who's been in Congress for 30 years. There are so many people that we are endorsing, and so we're using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for good to really help change our financial trajectory, because we know that once these individuals get into office, they'll be able to be champions for change. So that's one of the things that we're working. If you go on social media, you'll see a lot of us that are donating in Bitcoin to these congressional candidates to make sure that everything that they need, they're able to get, because we're donating through Bitcoin. These politicians are, they're not politicians yet, but congressional candidates are accepting any cryptocurrency that you have, but they're getting this cryptocurrency and helping push their campaigns to a new level, which is awesome. So that's number one. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and we're calling it Washington Bets. So stay tuned to hear about Washington Bets. We're trying to make sure that some of our people are at least making it to the primaries. But we're putting this Washington Bets out there. So if you all remember what they did with um, Wall Street Bets, they turned Wall Street on its head for one day. We're going to turn these congressional districts on their heads when we flip these votes. And so that's what we're doing on one. So that's one of the projects. And so I'm all about social change. I'm also always about getting my feet in, my boots on the ground, and my hands dirty. So one of the other things that we are doing are they're called crypto districts or Bitcoin districts. They're actually businesses that are willing to accept cryptocurrency. And so we're putting these different districts in different cities. So it may be just a row of businesses that accept Bitcoin. We're going to be calling them districts. And we're going out and seeking to talk to business owners in a particular area that are going to accept Bitcoin. We know we're talking about holding Bitcoin, but we also do know in order to have mass adoption that people have got to be using Bitcoin. So I'm kind of two-edged sorting this, saying, for our community, the Black and brown community, buy your Bitcoin and hold it. But I'm also getting in place so that these other communities can start to spend and utilize their Bitcoin, and that we can leverage at some point. And so we want to just, you know, we're building on both sides of the fence. I'll say it that way. So we're doing these cryptocurrency districts. We have a couple of them in Los Angeles, but they're going to start moving all over the United States, the crypto districts. One of the other project, and I'm working on that with um, some gentlemen from 777 Exotics. They have exotic cars that they rent, specifically with, you have to use Bitcoin to rent the cars, but they have like Lamborghinis and all sorts of things. So they're the ones that are starting to help me formulate with them these crypto districts. And so that's one of the things that we're working on. Again, crypto for good, just making sure that communities are acclimated to utilizing their Bitcoin. And then another project that I'm working on with Casa.keys. And you all may or may not have heard of Casa. They offer a multi-signature wallet. We're doing the Bitcoin Homeless Project. And so what that is we're gathering Bitcoin. It is our goal to give, our starting point is $100 worth of Bitcoin to every homeless person on the street. Now, how are we going to keep their keys private, safe and private? How are we going to keep them from losing their seed words and things of that sort? We're working with Casa to provide multi-signature, which means crypto blockchain plug will hold a key, the homeless person will hold the key, and then Casa will hold the key. But we're going to do this for the next 5 to 10 years because we know Bitcoin has not reached its potential. Right now, $100 worth of Bitcoin is $100. But in 5 to 10 years, what is Bitcoin going to be worth? And then how can we then allow that homeless person to come back and retrieve their Bitcoin, and at that time help them in 5 to 10 years maybe pay off their house or buy a house, whatever it takes. We'll have that because we have utilized this multi-signature platform. But not only that, we're with this project, we're going to work with those individuals that are helping them in the mental health part, because we know that we can't just give them a house and they've got mental health issues. Can't just give them a house or buy them a house with their Bitcoin. We are going to be doing some check and balances throughout this 5 years, making sure that they're getting the mental health that they need. Also just life skills in general. So this project encompasses more than just Bitcoin, but we are calling it the Bitcoin Homeless Project. Our neighbors without address, our neighbors without addresses, because they're definitely our neighbors without addresses here in LA, because they're everywhere. So that is a project that we are working on. And again, I'm doing that with Keys.casa and a lot of other gentlemen that are out here being champions for Bitcoin. And so last but not least, one of the other projects that I'm able to talk about today, and you all will hear more about it from Jack Dorsey, who is the founder of Cash App and Square. We got the go ahead today to be able to even he's going to be talking about it right after our Bitcoin 2022 um, in Miami. Um, but we're going to be doing the Marcy Homes Project, and that is with Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z. We will be educating the 4,060 people that live in Marcy Homes on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, how it works. They're going to be given some Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z are giving them Bitcoin, and we're going to be teaching them how to save it, teaching them how to store wallets, create wallets, and store their Bitcoin and all of those things. And and that's it. And so though that's just some of the projects that we're working on. There's one more that I'm working on, which is a personal project that nobody's really working on it with me. But if you all know any VCs out there, I am trying to do a capital raise of $100 million. Not trying, I am raising $100 million, and that is to purchase buildings in 41 inner cities, renovate them, and turn them into Bitcoin banks. So that is my new project for 2022. So again, if you know of any VCs or any tech shows where people are able to pitch and get investors, please let me know. I would love to pitch. We can hold our own. We got our business plan. We have everything we need. We just need to raise this $100 million, and we will be starting that in the next week. So that is just some of the crypto for good things that we're doing, and just trying to really be creative and help all segments of our population, because that those Bitcoin banks are important, because there are 65 million folks in the United States that are unbanked or underbanked, and we've got to get them into Bitcoin and out of cash, because as we know, the value of the dollar is questionable, and the more that we're in war and doing things in war, um, and finding out how people are diversifying into Bitcoin, um, it's really becoming very interesting on how strong the United States dollar is going to be. So I may be losing a little bit of reception, Yinka. So I would like for you, if you can, to jump in. If I lose reception, it'll only be for about a minute or two. I'm going through some hills, um, but we will. I can pick back up in a second. But are there any questions?
No, there isn't any question in the chat, but I just want to say congratulations to you because that is a lot that you've been working on, and it's a lot of information. I also wanted to bring up the the march on the Capitol. I have the flyer up on the screen right now for those of you who are interested. Please, 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 if you are in the DC area, join. April 4th is the really important day. A lot of people will be there. And, Cleve, as well as the rest of the individuals that are involved in creating this movement and this opportunity to be at the Capitol, she's historically been involved in something like this. I know that her intention is to make sure that we maintain some kind of alignment with the senators and be able to provide them with the right type of knowledge and right type of information so that the outcome can be the correct type of legislation that we need in this space, and not just someone coming out with something that they assume is going on with this space and trying to create some kind of restrictions based on that assumption, but really getting clarity and getting the right type of information. So I love the fact that you're promoting this, the fact that there's a lot of ground movement and work that are being done in regards to that movement. So thank you very much for bringing that up, as well as the fact, wow, Jack Dorsey, Block, the founder, the parent company of Square and Cash App, is sponsoring this event. So, Jack has always been a proponent of Bitcoin, of the possibilities of Bitcoin. So I'm happy that, him along with Jay-Z are working with you to provide that pathway to financial freedom for a lot of people. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very, very much. And yes, it is so important. The work that Clev has been doing. I mean, just she has a book out. There's so many things that folks are doing to really try to educate our policymakers. Like, at first they weren't even trying to be educated. They were just being ignorance on fire. And so I think I'm really excited about the fact that they're starting to open up and learn. But again, they really do need to see us. So I thank Claire for what she's doing. I know that there's so many folks that are going to be. I definitely am going to be there. My husband and I are going to be there on Capitol Hill as well on the 4th, and then we leave there going into Miami. Also, let me say this to anyone who was interested in going to Miami and did not have a ticket. The Black Bitcoin Billionaires is giving out tickets. There's a lottery system. You can get a free ticket to Bitcoin 2022. The tickets are $1,000. These are $1,000 tickets. I want to put that out there too. Bitcoin 2022. So you have to go to excuse me, Black Bitcoin Billionaire.com. No S in billionaire. So blackbitcoinbillionaire.com. You have to register for the website, and then um, you have to go in and get in the lottery. So there are 100 of these tickets available. So if you don't have a ticket to Miami 2022, there's a possibility that you can get a ticket. I wanted to say that as well, for Bitcoin 2022, because we do have those. And then there is if you're going to the conference, please go to the booth. The Black Bitcoin Billionaires has a booth sponsored by Cash App as well. So please go there and get interviewed, talk to them about, just what your journey here in the cryptocurrency space. So please do that. And then last but not least, I would be remiss, and I totally not thinking. I'm also doing a 41 city tour. I leave Los Angeles on May 29th. Ladies and gentlemen, I am coming to a hood near you. I will be all across the United States from May the 29th through July the 13th. We will be traveling to 41 inner cities. So you can go to thedfrtour.com, and that's the D for digital, F for financial, R for revolution, tour.com. So the dfrtour.com. And when you click on cities, you can see what city and state I'll be in every single day. We'll be in a new city, state. We will be giving away Bitcoin. We will be helping people download wallets. We will be, I believe we're going to have some ledgers with us on the trip so people can buy those if they need them. So we are going to really educate our community on the ground for 45 days on cryptocurrency. So looking forward to that as well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations on that. So I did put the blackbitcoinbillionaire.com on the chat as well as the dfrtour.com. Now, going back to your slide, you mentioned that you will be having a Bitcoin bank in 41 states. Now you're talking
Yes.
about a tour in 41 states. Is that a foreshadow of the places where those Bitcoin banks are going to be?
Yes, that is exactly where. And we strategically picked cities where there was a huge concentration of African Americans and Latinos, and some of the poorest places in the country are where we want to effect change. So that is why we're putting those Bitcoin banks there. We really eventually want to take the place of check cashing places. We want to get check cashing places out of our communities because they have been predatory on their face, not even hiding. They have been predatory, and we want to get rid of them. And so that's why we have picked these 41 locations. And yes, you hit the nail on the head. That is where we will be educating, and then where we will be setting up shop to permanently be. And I want to say that these Bitcoin banks are also going to be owned by the people. So we're going to do some tokenization of these buildings. So that means if you live in a community, or you don't necessarily have to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, let's say, you may have $100, or you may have $10, or you may have $100,000 that you want to invest. We're going to tokenize these buildings so that you have a share and a say so in what happens in these particular banks in your particular region, almost like a membership or a club. But we're going to own our own properties, meaning the people that hold tokens, and we're toggling back and forth between tokenizations and a DAO, and how we're going to format that. But we are definitely doing that. These buildings will be owned by the community, for the community, and run by the community.
Awesome. Congratulations. People are excited in chat. One person said, "Hoo, you are coming to Atlanta in June." I'm putting it on my calendar now. So people have an opportunity to tap into you, reach out to you, and communicate with you throughout these 41 states. And that's fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much, sis.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Man, Najah, it's only what, March? And you got a whole lot packed for
March.
the rest of the
But you know
year.
what? And I have to say, this thing that we're doing is not all us getting the attention. Like wherever you feel like you can fit in, please just, we're not saying we get paid and you volunteer. If there is money, and a lot of this stuff folks don't realize, we're putting our own money into this. We're not getting, like, I don't have sponsors that are saying, here's, $100,000 to do these things. But we're a lot of the work that we're doing, because it's Bitcoin for good or social good, we're volunteering. So we're giving of our own time, we're giving of our own money. So we need help. So I am open to, if somebody is in social media, if somebody's in marketing, if somebody bakes cakes, heck, I need Bitcoin cakes. Like, we need it all. So whatever you do, if you're able to volunteer some time, and not even like if you're a cake baker, we know you need to be paid for your cakes. So if we're doing something, we'll look to purchase those things from you as we come, throughout the city. So reach out. We need everybody. This is a us effort. While everybody is saying my pronouns are she, her, and he, him, and all this other stuff, my pronouns are we, us, and ours. This is ours, community. We have got to really get this and understand that collaboration is the new business model. We can no longer be in these silos. We've all got to pull together. And that's why I just know how critically important it is for us to continue to share with each other, and for us to continue to support each other by any means necessary. And today is one of those days where no matter what, I just could not drop the ball on Yinka and Nicole and these Natasha and all these other fabulous women that put this event on, because it's so critically important that we support each other and don't be flaky, and really show up and give our very, very best. And I say that to all of you that are listening. Whatever it is you do, we need you. We need you. We need you. Can you please consider that 2022 can take us so much further together than we can apart. And so with that, again, I just want to say thank you for your flexibility and jumping in here and covering for me while I had that emergency 6 a.m. this morning. And again, allowing me to share my Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for good this hour. You are so appreciated. Really appreciate you.
No, thank you, Najah. We appreciate you and for all the work that you're doing, and for even giving us time to grace the stream and be able to provide so much knowledge. We love it. I know you work hard, and you're working into the wee hours of the night. So I do hope that you get some time to relax and enjoy all the things that you're building and the things that you're coming to realizing as well. So nothing but success for you. And we look forward to having you once again next week, our last event. Wow, can you believe it?
Yes, you
Wow.
all have been doing the thing, and next week is the last week. But I just really want you to continue to do this all year long. You got to give us our self-care Sundays, because that's the only time I get it together, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
you got to continue self-care Sundays. No, I'm just teasing. But you all have done an incredible job. Can you believe you are on the last legs of this? But you have done an incredible job. The flow is awesome. As I said, every time I hear that music, I just start bopping, because that is the most
yeah,
catchiest music ever.
yeah.
So we appreciate you and all that you do, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to let you go. And then we're going to start getting ready to wrap up. Thank you, Najah. All right. Wow, 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 wow. What an impactful day. We got some really great news from Najah. It's fantastic. It's fantastic that we're being able to share with you as things progress in what we're building, and being able to bring those news to you. I I can't imagine the amount of knowledge and information and different type of women that are gracing our stage and the opportunities that are being created with that. I want to encourage everyone to tap in, go into our Discord. Don't be afraid to have your ask, right? Because it's always important because we all have an ask. And I want to really encourage everyone to let people know there's a community that we're building, and this community knows that each individual is coming with their own strength. They're coming with their own ability to help you out. And we have the capability of creating from the foundation what we want to see in this space, right? A lot of opportunities that maybe historically have not been available to us as a woman, to us as, to some of us as minorities, and to some of us because of our geographical location are now being made available to us. So I want to encourage everyone that when you get into this space, when you are in the Discord, don't be afraid to just open your mouth and ask. I'm saying that to myself as well. And I'm really asking you guys to continuously tap in, continuously take advantage of the opportunities that are in this space. And if you know that someone is having an ask and putting it out there, understand that it took them a while and it's a form of bravery, right? For people to be vulnerable and have that ask. If you have the ability to help people, please help them. Because that's what we're building. We're building a community. We're building a space where people can be who they are. We're building trust here, and we're using the technology to cultivate that trust. We're using the technology to cultivate the type of community that we want. And so I want to encourage all of y'all to join us tomorrow, because tomorrow is NF Tuesdays. In NF Tuesdays, we're bringing you non-fungible tokens. And in non-fungible tokens, you'll be able to see a lot of artists present their work. Some of them you've probably seen before, like Dr. Lamney will come back and she'll be able to present her art. She was instrumental to kicking off our Self-Care Sunday and was able to give us information about how to breathe, de-stress, and recenter ourselves. So we're bringing her back as an artist this time, and you're able to tap into her creative work. And that's going to be really exciting. The rest of the week, we have fantastic speakers, women speakers who are going to grace our stage and present you with so much more. We have speakers who are going to talk about real estate. We have a CEO that's actually building platforms for real estate. We have CEOs that are building platforms for healthcare and the medical field. So we have a lot of information for you, and we have only had 21 days and haven't even tapped into everything yet. We may end up leaving this event not even tapping into all the women who are in this space and all the things that we're working on. But just know that women are involved in this space, and we're not just quietly observing. We are working. We are rolling up our sleeves and being part of the people that are creating and building this space. And so I want to encourage everyone to join us, tap in, and we will see you tomorrow for NF Tuesdays. Thank you all for joining. See y'all tomorrow.